Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today in CookieCast, well, in some ways, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And no, it's not that thing that happens in December. It's the most wonderful time of the wrestling year. That's right, it's Wrestlemania. Woo! Wrestlemania, baby! Wrestlemania is now 2 nights, and because it's 2 nights, it's 2 podcasts as well. A night, a podcast a night. Yeah, let's go with that. So, this is part 1, night 1, however you want to categorise it. It's the first of 2 podcasts. Make sure to check out the second after listening to this one. So, Wrestlemania night 1. This is it. Before we start, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Obviously the big one, share the podcast around. If you've got a wrestling fan in your life, wrestling fans are everywhere. You must know one. If you're listening to this, you're a fan, you must know another one. Send it to them. They'll be like, hey, thanks. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, getting over WrestleMania Night 1. Here we go.
Welcome, one and all. We are back, and it's time. WrestleMania 41 is finally upon us, and my, how things have changed since our last outing. No, I don't necessarily mean John Cena's heel turn. I mean, Paul is missing for the biggest episodes of the year. Apparently, he has something called a holiday to attend. Um, Paul, if you're listening, if we see you turn up in Vegas for WrestleMania this weekend and we weren't invited, there's going to be some trouble. But with one departure, we also have an arrival, and as these episodes see the return of Mr. Matthew Moore to help myself and Mr. Andy Cook guide you through the weekend's festivities, it's time to say hello. So, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, or good night, depending when you listen to this, to Mr. Cook and Mr. Moore.
Good evening.
Hello.
So, last time around, following the Royal Rumble and heading into the Elimination Chamber, Paul took the title, the predictions title, on a technicality. So we're gonna get a little bit of business out of the way as normal. But the question is he going to be able to hang on to that title when he's not even here? Well, from the predictions from Elimination Chamber, there was only a maximum of 4 points to play with, and we all got 2. Yeah. So the answer is Paul's not here, so no, he can't hang on to it.
Yeah.
And normally we would do a tiebreak at this point, but we've got quite a lot to get through with it being WrestleMania week. So I figured that it's been a while since Elimination Chamber now. I couldn't really remember the order of elimination. So the women's Elimination Chamber match, we all got wrong. So logic decreed to me was that whoever's pick lasted the longest wins the tiebreak. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So I had a little look into it. Yeah, I had Bailey. She was technically eliminated second, but seeing as Naomi never really even made it into the match, then kind of makes Bailey first out, really, which was a shame for me. Paul had Roxanne Perez, and she was eliminated third, which means Andy and his pick of Alexa Bliss takes the gold on the episode. So she was fourth out. She was second to last. So all good. So Andy wins on a tiebreak that he didn't even have to guess an answer for, which is like, that is some talent. So congratulations to Andy. Like I say, it has been a little while since we've been here. That's purely for the scheduling of WWE, since we tend to do these around the premium live event schedule. And all sorts of things have happened, but really, there's one big piece of news that came out of Elimination Chamber, and unless you've been living under a rock, no pun intended, um, you may by now know that John Cena is no longer the John Cena that everybody knew and loved. He sold his soul to the devil at the end of Elimination Chamber. He won the match. The Rock came out. Cody came out trying to see if Cody would sell his soul to The Rock. In a really un-PG thing, we got lots of effing and jeffing at the end of Elimination Chamber. And even the day after, when I thought Netflix may have bleeped it, and I watched it with my 9-year-old boys, no, they absolutely hadn't bleeped it the next day either. So that was an interesting one to explain how Cody knows those kind of words. Exactly. And yeah, he told The Rock to go and F himself, and then John Cena seemingly switched into T2 mode, full on deadpan Terminator face, and proceeded to beat the crap out of Cody with the help of none other than The Rock himself, the undisputed WWE title, and a very, very, very untrained Travis Scott. If you don't know who Travis Scott is, congratulations, because neither does half of the UK, I would suggest. Um, if you're listening internationally, you probably had a bit of a jump start on that, perhaps, but I had no idea who he was until he did the theme tune for Raw as it moved over to Netflix, and has now just seemingly got free reign to do whatever the fuck he wants when he's on WWE TV, including battering Cody Rhodes around the head and bursting his eardrum. For a few weeks after Elimination Chamber, Cody was sporting some bandages and earplugs for his own entrance. As yeah, that was not a lot of fun for the lad, I don't believe.
It seemed like a down with the kids step too far, that one did. Like, they've tried it with others and they've trained and kind of got themselves to the point of not hurting people. Whereas, yeah, this one, yeah, stupid.
Well, the other piece of business that came off the back of, well, kind of around Elimination Chamber was in terms of you may be aware that I might like a collectible or two if you've seen us on YouTube. If you haven't, go and take a look. You'll soon work out what's going on. Um, so John Cena's farewell tour for this year has denoted that so far in every town that he's appeared, there's been a brand new spinner title. Um, there's been a brand new T-shirt, obviously with a brand new color. Um, I'm wondering if all this was thought out possibly before he turned heel, on the basis of they were all pretty much ready to go. They had one for London, they had one for Brussels, they've had one for Glasgow, a few other places he's been so far on this tour. Um, Everybody, I think, once he turned heel, kind of would have expected him to have like a little bit of a different look, maybe for the first time since he became the John Cena that's kind of been around. And because all the merch was already locked in, I don't know if they kind of backed themselves into a corner a little bit. So his first promo out was pretty much, well, you're expecting me to do it, so I'm not going to do it. So he kind of doubled down on it, which I thought was quite a clever way around it. Did quite enjoy that. The one thing that I've not heard him say directly is that, like, well, he came out and he said that basically the crowd's been on his back for 20 plus years and, you know, like they've never given him a break. Like he comes out week in, week out and still does with never give up written on him. I assumed at some point he probably should have said that that was intended for him, for himself to never give up against people going after him. But yet the crowd took it as this righteous, wholesome promotional message. And it just seems a bit strange that they've kind of missed that. I feel like they've kind of like, that seems quite a logical explanation to me, but they've kind of never really said that directly. Um, the other thing that I was going to say off the back of the Travis Scott thing was that Topps have taken over trading cards for WWE in recent times. Um, they do this thing called Topps Now. So when there's a premium live event, you can order basically made to order cards, and they clearly were going to do one for this. And they did one featuring the three of them that issued the beatdown to Cody, with one to be found that was signed by all three. It's subsequently been pulled in America. Obviously, it didn't make international shows. Um, and the gentleman that pulled it has two children, apparently. And thanks to him finding that trading card, will now no longer have to pay one, his mortgage, or two for both of his children's college education. Um, that is an expensive trading card. The final figure wasn't revealed, just those facts about it. So yeah, I don't know too much about the American education system,
Oh,
but I know it ain't cheap.
no, that's going to be six figures and probably more. It'd be interesting
Yeah.
to see because that's got like it's not even like a rookie card or something like that. That's got immediate guaranteed value because
Hmm.
all three of those people are famous. All those and more than just wrestling famous. It's like yeah, they're all international famous kind of thing. It's yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if one of those three has it.
Well, just to put it into like how much the value amplified, The Rock signed cards in the most recent set, which was Topps Chrome, and he hasn't done autographs on trading cards for quite a while now. One was pulled over here, actually. It was in this country. Just his autograph on its own. The card sold for $10,000 because it was sold back to an American, and that's just for one autograph.
Yeah.
Um, Times it by the three people, and times it by the fact that it was effectively covering what this generation's formation of the NWO, pretty much in terms of it had the Hogan heel turn for the modern generation feel about it. Like you say, not only is that instant value, but presumably as long as Travis Scott doesn't turn out to be some sort of mass criminal in a few years' time, that card is only going to proceed
Right.
to climb in value as well. Um, so yeah, like I say, the Cena heel turn really is the news that has been, because it's something that the crowd has maybe clamored after for, say, 15 to 20 years, and it's finally happened. Um, have you seen much of his promos since he turned?
I watched. Was it the one? Was it Bruges when they were in Bruges in but the Belgian one, and
Yeah.
then when he was in Glasgow as well.
Hmm.
Um, was he in London? Was there one
Yeah.
in London?
Yeah, there was the three.
Yeah. So I watched. Yeah. So I was. Yeah. I watched. Yeah. I've watched all three. Um. Yeah. I don't know. It's a funny. I don't know. I don't know the selling on it. It's not really. It's not really kind of done anything for me, would be the kind of thing. I think Cody's done a lot more of the carrying on that one, and it's made
Yeah.
him look great. I don't know. I don't know whether it's an angle because I mean, he's not a good actor, but yeah, but he's a better actor than what his promos have looked like so far. I don't know. It's a weird one. It is. I don't know if he's. Yeah. It's. I thought it would be better. I thought he'd come out with a bit more kind of fire in his belly and stuff like that. Like when if you even if you go back to those like NWO when Hogan first turned, like the promos that he did after that were like outstanding kind of thing. And you kind of think, well, Cena is on his level of promos when he was a good guy. So why are these ones not hitting? I don't know like what it is, and it's Cody coming out that makes it, and I think it kind of told by the fact that in London, like Cody was like, oh, no, we're not listening to you talk anymore. It's me kind of thing. And that seemed to raise Cena a bit kind of thing. But yeah, it's just been a bit dour and a bit miserable and a bit samey. And I think I said to you guys, was it the Glasgow one, which felt like a bit of a rewording of the CM Punk pipe bomb from all those years ago kind of thing.
What has been interesting for me is that, like, you would have thought that because Cena's got the backing of The Rock, at some point there would have been more of a mention as to the link.
Hmm.
There was a point where it's possibly the London one, where at the end of the promo, Cody actually left Cena laying. Cena went to cheap shot him. Cody, pulled the good guy moves and ducked him. Crossroads left him laying in the middle of the ring. Well, that would have been the perfect opportunity then for Rock's music to hit and come and like rescue, his new guy. But like, as the heel in the story, I don't understand why there's been a week whereby he was shown to be the one that Cody could just knock out with one move, and he didn't have backup or like a Weasley way out of it or anything like that. That was a really strange ending for me. The Rock was obviously was obviously never guaranteed to appear in London. It would have been a huge surprise if he had and completely blown the roof off the arena. But there's got to be a reason that they felt that it was right for Cody to be seen in that light when up to that point everything was all about how Cena's going to be the last real champion and he's going to retire with the belt. That's the thing I was going to say as well with that down that line of promo. Not only did it rob from the pipe bomb, but it was almost a bit Summer of Punk when it was him versus Punk and Punk left with the belt.
Yeah.
They've kind of borrowed a little bit from that as well. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Um, yeah, we'll get into more of the whys and wherefores of who's going to win at WrestleMania. Which spoiler alert will be on part 2 of this podcast. But it's there's been some good, but as Matt said, I think that surprisingly for the two, Cody has been the good. Um, so yeah. Anyway, we've talked long enough about John Cena. We've got some more to talk about John Cena on the very next episode of Getting Over. But we should probably start with at least one or two predictions before we hit a nice little break. So, WrestleMania 41, Night 1, this Saturday, and it's coming to us from the Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. Um, there's usually a little bit of uncertainty around which matches feature on what night. However, on last week's SmackDown, WWE have been good enough to give us a full rundown of what they expect to feature on both nights. So this time around, the match card information isn't taken from WWE.com. It is taken from that very SmackDown. And as always, though, the card is still subject to change. So if they do go swapping things around, don't be emailing Andy asking for a refund of all that money that you've paid to listen to us for free. It's not happening. So yeah, according to SmackDown, we do have 7 matches to discuss for night 1, and we will start with the WWE World Tag Team Championship match, which is the War Raiders defending against the New Day. It's nice that we start this batch of predictions with another one of Andy's favourites, the New Day. But Andy, question time. Since they've now embraced the dark side, do you still feel the same about these guys? Have you given a bit more slack?
So when I saw that this was on the list of stuff to predict, I was like, well, I know I don't need to predict this one because I presume Stu's already written my answer in the book because this one's an absolute no-brainer.
Well, New Day haven't held tag gold, Andy, in over 2 years now, so you have had a little bit of a reprieve. But they obviously felt it was time for a change, and that change came from ejecting Big E from the group and turning heel. The War Raiders picked up the gold from Judgment Day late last year and have since defended against Dominic Mysterio and JD Madonna and American Made before facing New Day on Raw a couple of weeks back now. The match ended in a disqualification. Xavier Woods brought a chair into the ring, but it was the War Raiders that ended up using it after a bit of a tussle, so it caused a DQ victory for the New Day. So I suppose the question would be then, are they going to repeat the feat at Mania, but without the use of the chair? Um, Now, Paul, as we mentioned, isn't here. He has been good enough to finish us with some predictions, so I have got Paul's in the book. I've got mine in the book too, and I can tell you now that we've both gone for a title change here, so we have both gone for the New Day. Matt?
I've also gone for a title change as well.
Okay, so if Andy is he going to stick by going against the New Day, or with the change, have you opted for a change as well?
Let's get the big brush out because that's a clean sweep.
Sweet.
I'm all on the New Day now because they're back.
Okay. So what you're saying is it was just Big E, really?
No, because ages ago I saw a video where they were, when they do all those sort of like behind the scenes training session type things where they're all getting like absolutely pumped. I saw one of those where Big E was doing a training session, and my word, that man can lift weight. And at that moment, I went, "You're all right with me, sir. You're all right with me." But yeah, I think this change is a refreshing change. So yeah, I'll happily back the.
Okie dokie. Right, well, that's first prediction in, and all the same predictions. So is that a sign of things to come? The next match I have on the card is Rey Mysterio versus newcomer El Grande Americano. Now, Chad Gable went to Mexico to learn the secrets of Lucha Libre in order to break his losing streak against mass competitors. When he returned, he brought with him El Grande Americano. Although he brought him with him, nobody has seen Gable and Americano in the same room, but they're definitely not the same guy, right? It is, uh, well, El Grande Americano disrespected LWO member Dragon Lee, so Rey Mysterio challenged him to a match at WrestleMania. Will Rey get the win in his 13th WrestleMania match, or will Chad get El Grande Americano take victory in his WrestleMania debut? There's been some shenanigans on the build to this, and I'm not sure how I feel about this in the respective top rope headbutts were clearly carried out by none other than Mr. Chris Benoit. Can't say that name around these parts. Oh, yeah, we absolutely can. They've taken to doing it, but also adding a small steel plate into not Chad Gable's mask, because that's not going to look great in 10 years when Todd Ladd has a concussion history. And yeah, not my favourite. But either way, we've got a match to predict. So Rey Mysterio, or I have put him down officially as El Grande Americano, and Paul has gone with that option of El Grande Americano for the win. Andy?
I'm going Ray with a bonus unmasking.
Of Chad Gable, you mean?
As a surprise to absolutely nobody.
Matt?
I've gone Mysterio as well.
Me too, which leaves Paul safely on his holidays on Points Island, potentially, on that one. So yeah, the first difference. Now, I said we'd have a couple of predictions before we had a teeny tiny little break, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, you won't notice it. You might have time, if you're very lucky, to just click pause, click like and subscribe, and then click play again, because that would be awesome if you did. But yeah, go do that very quickly, and we'll be right back before you can even blink. Hey, you see, told you, blink and we'll be straight back. So, for those of you that are not aware, KCOM, thank you very much for not ever connecting to Zoom server for the last 40 minutes or so. So appreciate that one. But nonetheless,
the clue will be if you check the window behind me, it's dark outside of this point. The sun was out last time.
And Andy, it wasn't the window that was nearly the issue. We would have had to have gone full Cookie Cast continuity and worn the same clothes tomorrow night if it had carried on much longer. Oh, anyway, right, we are back. Yes, I'll never use that phrase again just before going into a break. But we will go into the third match on my list, which is Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Months ago, the then tag team champion Jade Cargill was the victim of a brutal attack backstage, ending with her left laying on a windshield. The perpetrator was unknown for the full length of her recovery time until she returned just before the Elimination Chamber door closed and absolutely obliterated Naomi, taking her out of the match before it even started. When Naomi then returned to SmackDown, after questioning from Bianca Belair, Naomi did finally admit to being behind the attack on Jade. Subsequently, Nick Aldis has made the match, and now it is game on. So, the question for this one is who wins the custody of Bianca's feelings match? Because that's essentially where we're at right now. Paul decided to tell me that he thinks Jade Cargill will win the match. However, he did put brackets after it and put, but it'd probably be better for the story if Naomi wins. So he's gone for Jade, but he can see it going the other way. I agree with that. I've gone for Jade too. But it depends how long they're going to drag this out for is the question, I guess. Matt?
I've gone Jade Cargill as well. But it took me a lot longer to write it than I thought it would do. Because I was like, do they actually ultimately roll this over? And conveniently, Bianca Belair's match is the following night. So is there a level of them screwing each other over and ultimately leading to... So I'm going to stick with Jade Cargill, but I'll be really annoyed when Bianca Belair comes down, does something to her that means Naomi wins, and then ultimately maybe Jade ends up interfering in the three-way the following night, and then that leads them onto a program for SummerSlam or something like that. But yeah, I'll stick with Jade Cargill. But I want
you're
to.
close. But you're close. The same as Paul. Yeah. Andy's got that clean sweep sort of opportunity again.
Yeah, absolutely. Clean sweep.
Right. Okay. That's in there. Locked in. So 3 matches down. 2 of them all the same prediction. It might happen again momentarily. This time around, we do have a title on the line, and it is the United States Championship as LA Knight defends against Jacob Fatu. LA Knight regained the US title from Shinsuke Nakamura on the March the 7th episode of SmackDown. Fatu had to go through a big number 1 contenders match against Braun Strowman, last man standing style. But when the dust settled, the Samoan Werewolf was victorious. Knight didn't exactly have the greatest run first time around as United States champion. And is he going to do any better this time? Or is Jacob Fatu going to stop it early in its tracks? For me, a lot of steam has been put behind Jacob Fatu of recent time. The question is then, have they learnt their lesson by a similar amount of steam been behind LA Knight last time, and then they pulled the rug from under him whilst stuff was going on? But then if they do that and Knight doesn't retain, then he's going to fall into that same trap again. I'm really disappointed with the booking on this because whilst I would have preferred LA Knight obviously to have had a WrestleMania match like he does, what was the harm in leaving the title on Nakamura, presuming that his contract lasted long enough to get him to WrestleMania, and then have these 3 in a triple threat? Because Shinsuke would have then have eaten the pin, one of the other 2 would have taken the title, and the one that didn't lose wouldn't have really suffered from it. That kind of felt like a better way out to me. I really struggled with this one because I can see it going either way, but purely for the fact that he's the new kid on the block, I've gone for Fatu. Matt's nodding.
Yeah, that was my reasoning. Of they built him up to look good, and unless something really shifty happens, like say, oh God, Solo Sokoa gets involved to stop him from winning, then yeah, I can't see it being anything else than him.
Okay. Andy?
Yeah, so there's a lot of build for it to just if it's not going to go through, it seems like what's the point?
The one, I know it's daft, but like again with the merch thing, one of the other things that really kind of throws me off is the fact that LA Knight has got a personalized US title that they sell, and it went on sale just after he lost it last time,
No.
and now he's come back out with since winning the title again, and he's got the personalized one, and it's still on sale, and it's like, are they going to do it to him again? Like,
I think it's funny.
but yeah, that was kind of the only thing throwing me off. However, Paul has completed the third clean sweep out of 4 predictions so far. So it's a good job there's like an absolute shitload of matches over WrestleMania weekend, isn't it? So hopefully we'll get some more variance down the way. I have to say, I don't think we're going to get any in the next 2 matches either, knowing how things go. So we'll see. Anyway, another title match. This time, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So Gunther defending against Jey Uso. Jey has arguably become the new face of WWE over the last few months. Audiences have been yeeting along with him during his run, which has carried him all the way to becoming the winner of the 2025 Royal Rumble. This is what's earned him the title shot at WrestleMania. During Gunther's time in WWE, there have been fewer days without gold than with it. So taking the title from him is going to be no easy task. Gunther has already beaten Jey in both Intercontinental and World Heavyweight Championship defenses, with the big Austrian pointing out that another victory over Jey adds absolutely nothing to his CV. Will the overconfidence lead to his downfall, or is his legacy going to continue from WrestleMania onwards? Now, Andy, do you want to go first on this one?
This is one of the ones that I've struggled with for a couple of different reasons. One of them being what you've said in the intro, that there's been like less days without gold. And I feel like it's very much built around Jey Uso just taking this. But all of that leads me in one direction. It's quite simple. It's not going to be this, and it is going to be this. So the answer is this. So for this one, I'm going to go completely the other way to the way it's leading me, and I'm going to go Gunther.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not expect to be writing that down.
Me neither.
Okay. That is in the book. Matthew.
I've probably gone the way that you thought we'd go. I've gone Jey Uso. It's like the ultimate payoff. I think it's one of them ones where it's going to be really shitty if they don't do the payoff, which is what they sometimes do. But I think they're going to pay this one off.
Okay, Paul is in agreement. He's also gone for Jey, as have I. I can see where Andy's coming from, and what I don't like about it is the fact that Gunther's going to be effectively potentially screwed out of not screwed, but like sort of have a title taken away from him for the second WrestleMania in a row, only for then the title holder to possibly have a really meaningless title run themselves. Obviously, Sami Zayn took the Intercontinental title from him last time, and since Gunther lost it, I don't think that anybody's really given quite as much of a shit about the Intercontinental title scene, if I'm honest. I don't think he's quite had the same impact as World Heavyweight Champion, but I think part of that is because he took it from like Damian Priest, who was just not exciting as champion either. So there's not really been a huge push because everything on Raw seems to have taken a bit of a backseat to the whole CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins situation. So yeah, he's maybe not had quite the help. I still have gone for Jay because I do think he'll probably win, and then either Gunther will get it back or he'll lose it to somebody else, like in a month. I don't know. And if we're still sat here next year at WrestleMania prediction time and Jey Uso is still the world heavyweight champion at that point, genuinely, I'll pack this up because I just can't see it. I just can't see him having a long reign whatsoever. So yeah, so we do have a difference there. So it's Andy this time sat out on his own with the Gunther prediction. Okay, 2 to go for night 1 of WrestleMania. And the penultimate one for this episode is the Women's Championship. So Tiffany Stratton defending the WWE Women's title against Charlotte Flair. Now, Tiffany became champion when she cashed in on Nia Jax back on the 3rd of January. And 14-time champion Charlotte returned from injury at the 2025 Royal Rumble. Secured her a title match of her choosing by being victorious, obviously. Now, after selecting Tiffy as her opponent, things really started to get a bit more interesting here. There was a lovely little script, and both of them seemingly thought, "Nah, don't need to read that." It got very personal very quickly, and allegedly has gone completely left field by where they wanted it to be. So a really personal promo battle between the two really has been the highlight of the build-up so far. If the match is as tasty as that exchange was, we are definitely in for a belter. My problem with it is every time they put the match graphic up, it feels a bit like Charlotte from NXT versus Charlotte from now. And then another week goes by and the faces look slightly different, and it's like they've swapped. And it's like old guard, new guard, but I just can't quite get my head around it. Charlotte's up.
I'd say something, but I don't want Charlotte Flair to come at me on the internet.
that was very good. What Matt's referring to was that somebody posted a meme of like a cyclical diagram of Charlotte gets injured,
title injured, facelift,
divorce,
title.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she replied saying, "Oh, let's have a look at your face," or something like that.
That's to this right. So she replied to some unknown on the internet saying, "Well, do you want me to assess your face?" And the guy replied saying, "At least it's my original one."
Oh, I've not seen that bit. Fair play to him.
So, and oddly enough, she chose not to respond at that point, which I thought was well played. That person, whoever's done that, because it was well played completely. But yeah, Charlotte's obviously gunning for that 16-time world title reign that her dad holds from the men's side of things. She's on 14. 15's getting kind of close for this stage in her career, unless she's planning on packing up sooner than anticipated. But is it going to be that Tiffy time rolls on after WrestleMania this time? Now, I know I keep mentioning the cards. The cards are a thing that have become a bit of an addition to my collection. Interestingly, Topps, I should have mentioned this in the last match as well. This year around, Topps are doing this thing called buyback in the States, whereby if you have any card, whether it's the basic card right up to the fancy pants ones, and if you have multiples and take them into card shops in America, they're going to give you $20 for a base card, up to $200 for like the fancier parallel stuff. Only for the winners of the Gunther versus Jey Uso and the Tiffy versus Charlotte Flair match. People have been stockpiling these cards. Nobody seems to be that bothered about the Tiffany Stratton ones. Most people seem to be stockpiling the Charlotte cards, which tells me that the wider world probably think that Charlotte's going to win. I don't think she will. Personally, I've gone for Tiffany Stratton on this. And I think the thing that's decided it is that promo and is how Charlotte's dealt with it afterwards. She's been in and around the business for a long time now. Obviously, as a kid when her dad was there, as a professional, she's certainly been NXT and main roster for the last 11 years. She should know better. She should know how to handle that. She got absolutely rinsed on live TV and then on the internet thereafter. And I just think I just think it's enough that they'll probably make her wait a little bit longer, or even if it's just by slight way of punishment. So Tiffany Stratton win for me. Andy?
So I think where I've come on down on this one is what you were saying about the fact that it feels like, obviously, as a company, they're going to go for the 16 and beyond because that is just written.
Yeah.
But it's so soon to try and get it in now. Like you say, what we're saying here is what? She's only got a couple of years left in the business, and then I don't think anybody would agree that that's the case. So why do 15 at this point? And why not say, well, let's just slow roll it for a little, give it another 6 months or something. So that's where I ended up making a decision. So it's tippy time for me, I'm afraid.
Okay. 2 for Tiffy. Well, Paul makes it 3 for Tiffy. And then that leaves Matt to close out that.
I've gone Tiffany Stratton as well.
Cool. Any different reasons or very much the same?
I just thought it seemed like after the build-up that she had, for her to cash it in and have it taken away within, 3 months, to just hand it over to Charlotte Flair, who's come back for a bit and, she's getting that kind of injury liability kind of thing about her as well. I think, and she has lost quite a lot at WrestleMania. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be, but maybe that'll be, I don't know, maybe that'll be part of the story. But yeah, I just think it seems if you want to build the company for the future, you've kind of got to invest in future champions, which Tiffany Stratton is.
Okay, right, lovely stuff. So that leads us on to the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania, which is a triple threat match, no titles involved, but Roman Reigns versus CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. It's a really, really odd decision, this, for me. It was announced weeks ahead of the event that Punk versus Reigns versus Rollins would main event night 1. No title on last. No Royal Rumble winner getting the spot they earned. Just feels really odd to me. I appreciate that these are 3 big, massive names, with 2 of them main eventing WrestleManias previously. But for the first time ever, CM Punk will be part of a WrestleMania headline match. You may remember that Punk helped Reigns back at Survivor Series by competing as part of the OG Bloodline team that eventually would take down the new Bloodline, with the consequence of that being that Paul Heyman would owe him a favour. Well, that favour has now been cashed in, as Paul Heyman won't be in the corner of his tribal chief this weekend. He will be in the corner of CM Punk. Is Punk going to win his first main event? Will Rollins spoil the party? Or can Roman prove that he doesn't need Heyman to succeed? This is the one where I feel that will be the most difference in predictions. I think there are so many different ways that this could go. I'm conscious I don't think Matt's picked first yet, so I'm going to give this one to Matt.
Yeah, so I've gone with Rollins.
Okay.
I just, yeah, I don't know. It was I just didn't. I think the thing for me was I was like, well, Punk's not winning. I just don't think CM Punk's winning. And then it was like, well, is it going to be Rollins or is it going to be Reigns? And I just thought, you know what? I'll just go with Seth Rollins, which is probably completely wrong considering he was left standing tall at the end of Raw this week. This week, that's probably completely wrong. But I went with Seth Rollins. I just thought,
okay. Well,
yeah.
I actually did the same thing.
All right.
I've gone for Rollins. Rollins feels like the dark horse in this 3 for me, in the sense of it's the whole thing has been, oh, look at CM Punk. He's in his first main event of WrestleMania. Oh, CM Punk. Oh, and now he's got Paul Heyman. Oh, everything's just coming up CM Punk. It feels a bit too Route One for then him to win to me. I'd like to think that the winner of this match goes into some sort of title sort of contention, and it'll probably be done in such a way that the other two end up kind of still at each other. That's just my thing. I think Rollins started off the new lineage of the World Heavyweight Championship. He's not been near a title since. So I would hope that he would win and possibly pursue that. Just to reference what Matt said about Raw this past week, I did very much enjoy the callback of when everything was breaking down. Rollins obviously dresses like some sort of flamboyant peacock now, but he was all in black, and he was wearing a leather waistcoat, but it had like pockets in to look like some sort of flamboyant tactical vest, a la Days of the Shield. And there was a point where Roman Reigns was on top of Punk, just punching him in the face, and then Rollins took the chair into the back of Roman Reigns in the same way that he did when the Shield came to an end. So I thought that was quite a cool callback. I did enjoy that. But yeah, it's all been, oh, Heyman's not with Reigns. Oh, Reigns, look at him. Look how grumpy he is about this now. Ooh, what's going to happen with that? I wouldn't be surprised if Heyman leaves with Rollins as well, just as a bit of a complete departure from it. So that's mine. I'm going to give Paul's now because he's not here and he can't elaborate on it. Paul has gone Route One and has gone for CM Punk, which leaves Andy with a final prediction for night one of WrestleMania.
I was very much with Matt's breakdown. I think that Seth Rollins has been put into this to take the win, in that almost like taking the fall, because in that 3-person match, you can't put it on one, you can't put it on the other. So then the third option is the one that makes sense. And it's kind of like almost in that sense of like it's a bit of a cop out. It's like, oh, well, we don't want to do this and we don't want to do that. So by process of elimination. So I'm also in the Seth Rollins camp.
Ooh. I genuinely thought we'd get at least one of each then. That's interesting. We'll all be screwed when Reigns wins, won't we? Okay, cool. Right, so we do have now our full set of predictions. There are a lot of similarities, but there are some slight differences. So hopefully after night one, we will have some sort of leader. However, it matters not, because as it's WrestleMania and it's a 2-night affair, we do have part 2 of the podcast coming right up. So I'm not going to say it.
Said it?
But in theory, you won't notice the difference anyway. It'll just be a separate episode this time. So thank you very much for listening along, as always, to this one. Thank you. And please do like, share, and subscribe. If you have heard this one for the first time and you do click the subscribe button, magically, episode 2 will just appear in your feed. So it works both ways, people. Get on it. Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. And we will see you in part 2.
So there you go. What do you think to that? Night 1 of WrestleMania is in the bag. Night 2 to come. Check out the second podcast covering Night 2 of WrestleMania. Before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review, and check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Like I say, check out the next one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to Cookie Cast.